We are now on Psalm 67. For the leader with instrumental music, a psalm, a song. May God be gracious to us and bless us. May he show us favor, Selah. That your way be known on earth, your deliverance among all nations. Peoples will praise you, O God. All peoples will praise you. Nations will exult and shout for joy, for you rule the peoples with equity. You guide the nations of the earth, Selah. The peoples will praise you, O God. All peoples will praise you. May the earth yield its produce. May God, our God, bless us. May God bless us and be revered to the ends of the earth. What does it really mean to be blessed and blessed by God? A clue can be found in the language of this very brief psalm at the beginning of it, language that reflects the very well-known priestly benediction that is found in the book of Numbers. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his countenance to shine upon you, and so on. That blessing, which is to be recited by the Kohanim, the priests, in which the priests bless the people with those particular words of the priestly benediction. And we have in that benediction the word gracious. May God be gracious to us. We have the phrase show us favor, or shine his countenance upon us, show us favor. And we also, of course, have the concept of blessing us. Yevarachenu, may God bless us. Just as the priests blessed the people, here the psalmist takes the role of the priest and blesses his own people, himself included. He's doing this, I think, partly to tell us, unless he is a priest himself, but maybe partly to tell us that you don't have to be a priest. You don't have to be of a special status to be a vehicle and a channel of God's blessings to one another. God doesn't need priests to bless us. God only needs faithful believers to be God's representatives, blessing us, conferring God's abundance and beneficence on us. And that's really all that is needed. And again, what does it mean to be blessed? The psalmist says in verse 7, may the earth yield its produce. May God, our God, bless us. The blessing partly comes from the meeting of basic needs. The earth yield its produce. In other words, may all of us not want of anything. May we have our basic human needs met, whether it's that the land yield its produce, that we have what we need to eat, that we have, and now I'm extending beyond what the psalmist says here, but I'm extrapolating on it. May we have other basic needs met, such as shelter, basic personal freedoms, the right to speech, free speech, the freedom to observe our religion as we wish, the freedom to have the basic necessities of life provided for us, the freedom to have equal access to all medical care, and also that everyone have equal opportunity and access to meet with and achieve a degree of financial prosperity, a basic prosperity in life. Everyone needs equal access to that. The psalmist says, nations will exult and shout for joy, for you rule the peoples with equity. You guide the nations of the earth. Selah. I think what this means is that nations and peoples of the earth who may be accustomed to being subject to their monarchs with all of their idiosyncrasies and all of their power mania and unfair policies and unfair practices and tyrannical ways, that those nations and peoples, once they understand that God is the one true sovereign, the one true ruler of the earth, they will rejoice because they will know that they are not subject to the unpredictability of earthly monarchs, but instead they are subject to the equitable ruling and fair justice provided by the sovereign, the ruler of all the earth, namely God. The psalmist recognizes that once all peoples and all nations recognize this, they will be happy, because they will know that even though earthly rulers may not dole out complete justice and fairness to their subjects, they will still know that the Holy One, the sovereign God, the ultimate ruler, will dish out ultimate justice, fairness, and equity to all peoples of the earth. And that is tremendously comforting. Each and every one of us is deserving of those blessings, of the equity by which God rules the earth, by ultimate justice and fairness in our lives. And we appreciate the ability to enjoy those liberties and freedoms and justice and equity that we believe God confers upon this earth. And when those of us, or certain pockets of human society, do not enjoy those blessings and basic freedoms, it is up to the rest of us to speak out and to call for equal justice and freedom and equity for everyone under the law. The psalmist reminds us that divine law provides us with this. By right and by nature, God rules the peoples with equity. Now we only need our human rulers, those who provide governance and policies. We only need them to understand and embrace that same basic principle. Once our human governors understand this, then indeed everyone will enjoy the blessings which they so deserve, those blessings conferred by God, by God's prophets, by the psalmist, by the teachings embodied in our scriptures, and by the voices of those raised today who call for fairness, justice, and equity in our land. Thank you.